kind of does, but I like it, Jonathan. You know, I get sick of these newer heroes. I'm glad to see the old ones kind of making their
10
reappearances.
seconds
That we
remaining.
still, again, we never get to see heroes like Sand King, Jonathan. I'm not sure why.
5
Sand King's
seconds
still
remaining.
dead. Earth Spirit's never coming back. We've talked about this already.
Rocks.
Never happening.
Rocks.
Muerta, Jing on the Muerta has actually gone for Dance of the Dead. In fairness, though, Jing is playing support Muerta this game around, so, you know,
I mean, it's that or the Ofrenda, and the Ofrenda really just
sucks.
kind of sucks.
Yeah. I'll
Like,
give you that, John.
It outright just sucks. It's like, alright, you will respawn there. Which actually sounds better for a support, to be fair, heading back into the lane to help out your core.
I mean, it is pretty miserable if the opposing team finds the Ofrenda.
It is true. That is true. It is pretty miserable. And again, if you're a core with Ofrenda, if they didn't fix that in the sub-patch, but I have no idea if it's a shadow fix. After you use Aegis, you pop back in the which is nice in some circumstances and really bad in other circumstances. So, yeah. And the Dance of the Dead is probably the only thing you'll ever pick up. Gonna be interesting. I do have the Dynamo again for Jackie, which, again, when you alt-highlight the static Eye of the Storm, it does not interact, but theoretically it should be amping up Eye of the Storm. I'm just not sure if that's a visual tooltip bug or it really doesn't interact properly. Because if it doesn't, then that kind of sucks. At the same time, it hasn't really affected how Razor's played. It does feel like Razor's still really strong, regardless if that thing works or not, so can't really fault them. There they go, farming up some cogs. High-end gameplay right now.
For battle.
Absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see. We're literally back in the meta where you're just going to see SF after clockwork every single time. You can't blame them because it is just very strong. When you can just do this to start your game off, and you can get a total of 20. Like, there's no... Obviously, you're going to rush for the bounty runes after the third one. You know, so you've got to kind of cogs on the way. But he could theoretically just stick around for the full 20 if they really want to.
Ah, they stopped at 9. I would love to see someone just stick for the 20, show up in lane with plus 20 damage already. I think that'd be the way to really surprise your opponents. But they want to, you know, get their runes all lined up. They are walking well and putting cogs while they do so. So they are being efficient. 12 for
30
Emo now.
seconds to
Feeling
Yeah,
good.
12 is the standard. You know, it happened last time around as well. I want 20. So maximum efficiency, please. It's not going to happen, though. They always stop at 12. I mean, it's enough damage anyway. You know, he's got plenty of damage now. He's alright.
That it is. He'll get 20 eventually in lane anyway. Creep wave and a half should get the job done. Contesting over
The
these
battle
runes.
begins.
It's going to be a 3-for-1 trade. Cox was actually able to take a bounty rune away here on the Slardar, so nice little start already for the side of TNT Predator. And I am actually quite intrigued by this mid lane, because this might be one of the lanes where the Zeus actually just doesn't outright win. Because it is a little bit harder to just dive and just harass out an SF of all things. I think Emo, especially by the level 3 mark, should have a lot of potential of just turning any kind of initiation here from Yoic.
And he should. And again, he has really good lane control overall. Good threats with rundown to counteract with the Shadow Raises. And of course, you've got the Shadow Mars, so you can slow down the Zeus. Yo is going to be very dependent on having jump more than usual in this matchup. Again, he still does good damage with just the Arc Lightning. Without the threat of the right-click follow-up, Emo is going to be way better off than what we've seen from other Zeus matchups. So I like the solution coming out from Bleed. Rune control is going to be a very big part. And in that sense, perhaps these supports, well, both sides actually do have really decent supports that can rotate. Down to the independence of the lanes, and it does feel like Bleed has a lot more leeway to leave their lanes alone to help out mid, with a Razor and a Centaur on the sides.
Oh, yo, I'm
So
not
that
sure
should be able
about
to
this.
determine a lot.
Manning up here up against Emo. He's taken 3 raises, and there you go. Emo's got him. Yoe, that was very brave of Yoe to try for that, underestimating how much damage Emo was going to deal with all those stacks. But I mean, he gave it a crack. Props to him for that. He ends up losing out though.
And that's when the SF really starts to snowball, though. He did pop a Mango, still has 1 Mango left. He does need some regen to come in, but a level spike for Emo. Level 2 raises up. it's going to be really hard for Zeus. He's going to have to sit back, play with Heavenly Jump, play a lot more passive than you'd want, and again, provide a lot of openings for Emo to just control the lane fully.
Cox.
Pending support rotations.
Cox is trying so hard to get away. We didn't really catch that on camera, but Say actually pushed him back twice. With the Cogs just kicking them back towards the Slaughter. And poor old Cox, he literally couldn't move. Just one after the other, the Cogs just kept pushing him back thanks to Say. It's just a perfect setup for Jackie with the static link.
Yeah, it's such great synergy for the Clockwork and Razor. And the Slardar, okay, no value point in Guardian Sprint. You do want that laning presence with Crush and the Bash with the Threat back, but it does leave you a little bit of a sitting duck. Not too much Jin can really do as well whenever the calling's down. We'll manage to find Bosku at least down bot. So early start going strong for the side of Bleed. All of their lanes, again, very, very strong combinations. Bushwhack and Hoof Stomp's great. Very independent laners as well. Emo does fall.
I mean, they finally do get him, Yowie. I'm not entirely sure exactly how that happened. He actually had 4 stacks of the Shadow Rays on him. So Yowie did tank a lot of damage to make that one work. A little bit of revenge here from the Zeus now onto the SF, and that means Yowie is going to start overtaking the XP department.
That was an important kill to find. Need to equalize at the very least, and should be able to hit 5-6 a little bit faster now on Yowie. Does need a top up. Will sneak away to grab a bounty rune, so it is all set at the very least. And does have a raindrop set. That is one good counteraction to the SF. It feels a little bit more important up against the SF in comparison to the Zeus, just because, well, static field is still there with the live wire. And Zeus does have multiple ways of burning through. We'll see how much that affects Yowie. He is low on mana though, so trading back's not going to be as easy. Again, so far, strong start for Bleed. In terms of CS, all lanes are going fairly well. For Bleed and TNC, it's not that big of a disparity either way. It is slower for Cox overall, so this is the lane that's hurting up top, which is somewhat to be expected. Melee matchup into a Razor with a Clockwork on hand. There's really not much Jin can do to relieve some of that pressure. And you just kind of have to accept that Jackie will just find that farm and that initial build-up to connect with his team later on. Yowie can't stop with the voice lines, huh?
No, certainly can. I mean, none of them can really. Every chance they get, they will just use it seal. Bottom lane being chased down. Should be going down as Yowie is there with the follow-up damage. They will, of course, hand over the kill to Yowie as he does get stunned up on his way out. Even the Centaurs had enough of the voice line spam, I think. Yowie will walk his way back to the fountain for a reset by the looks of it.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
In the meantime, Emo is getting away with some free tower damage, so never mind the fountain. Yowie has to go back towards the tier 1 mid tower, but he's quite low in the mana department, so just going to have to rely on some clarities to try and give himself a chance at actually defending this. As Emo's just straight up diving him in the mid lane. But Emo missing out on multiple raises as now. Top lane, Cox in danger. Cox is just coxed up forever there by Say, but he's still able to run his way out. As Jackie not able to keep up with the static link. So the Slaughter going to be just fine. Though Jing, I can't say the same for him. Jing, one more hit will do it, and Jackie does fine.
Dire's bottom tower is
Again,
under attack.
the laning from Bleed is just so much stronger. The top lane is a really big hurting point for TNC. Cox not safe here.
Cox still sticking around. This is a bit of an awkward situation here for him, but he'll be able to walk out of there after the stun. The thing is, this lane is not going to get any easier as time does go on. The Bleed are only going to get stronger here in this safe lane, so Cox going to try and find whatever he can while he can, but it does seem like they're already waiting for another opportunity for Say to move in onto Cox. Here come the Cogs. Cox goes for the stun, he'll run up north, and that was a smart choice. He'll be alright.
Just as long as he doesn't run into Say, he's going to be fairly happy.
Radiant
Would have disengaged them.
structures
Early
are
committal
fortified.
onto the mid. This is the rotation we were looking for from Bleed. Highly independent side lanes. They can contest nicely for these power rings.
He's going to spawn up top. I'm just going to make a rush for it. Say does block the way with the Cogs, so there's no chance of being able to deny that away from the SF. It's the Cogs still just abusing Jing. Very annoying, but Jing's just dead. Emo will follow, misses the shot. And man, those Cogs, I tell you, every time I see it, it just gets more and more ridiculous.
And it is. Just does so much work. Poor old Jing. There's not much more it can really do in that circumstance. They're not able to really... I don't think you even feel the presence in lane. Yowie does grab an extra on Pulse, so you do trade supports. nice streak for Yoa to find.
Radiant are scanning.
Even though he does lose out in Power Rune, still manages to get some to compensate. And he has the Thunder God's Wrath ready. He gets a little bit of a top up from Cuckoo with a Cold Embrace, a little bit more mana. So he is ready to try to help out the Silence just a tad bit if a commitment does come in. I do have to say, all of this commitment mid is still hurting TNC's top lane. Again, you can't really stop the Razor, but you can't give your Slardar any space either.
Dire's middle tower
And that
is under
is
attack.
not what you want to see for Cox. Blink timing is going to be delayed, Echo Saber is going to be delayed, BKB down bot.
Zeal again being targeted. They'll get the call down here from Jing. Eventually, there's just no way out for poor old Zeal. He will drop Yoa, securing the kill with the Thunder God's Wrath. I mean, it makes enough sense. It's kind of the thing, like, it feels weird to just constantly be finding kill steals like that, but at the same time, it's all about the phylactery build-up of the Zeus. The faster you get it, the more impactful he can be.
That it is. Just the mana sustain is a big aspect, a little bit more slow. On your initial spell, it's going to be massive. They did manage to find Cox up top. Again, this Slaughter is in a lot of hurt. He's queuing up. He's still into the phase boots, into the Soul Ring. 2 Soul Rings speed up by Cox, but it's not smooth going for the Slaughter. Stuck at level 5, about to hit 6 in some time at the very least. They've scouted out the triangle, and Cox,
Yeah,
never safe anywhere he goes.
I like the fact that they're just not leaving him alone. You know, like, just making his game kind of impossible now, as even Emo shows up and still some stacks away. Jing and end up finding himself Paulson, so Cox will be able to secure himself a kill on the Slardar. They are, of course, going to bring Yoa over to try and secure all the stacks before they are taken by the side of Bleed. Thankfully for Yoa, he will be able to take them away.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
That took no time at all. Really good regen for Yoa to find as well to sustain through that. And they start to equalize a bit. Important kill for Cox to find. So again, he's lagging in EXP and gold. He does have the phase boots at least to help run around. Don't know if they can really do much about top. Say?
They're trying to move it onto the top work. Say it's just fine. Snapping was popped to be able to let him out. Meanwhile, they do actually find Jing thanks to Emo. No, Emo isn't a bit.
And it is. I love the drums pickup as well for Emo, just to allow himself some gap close and distance here. Especially in trying to chase down the Zeus after the Heavenly Jump commitment. Makes it a lot easier for the SF to keep that chase forward. Good stats for him to play off of as well. So overall, again, Bleed finding a lot out of their lanes. Emo's lane and Jackie's lane going spectacularly well. A little bit slower for Zeal, but not as bad as Cox's lane. This is a really big hurting point for TNC. They've got the foundational start they want with Yoa, all things regardless. His phylactery is only about 400 gold off. He's got this pretty good timing lined up for Palos, although...
Nice first bottom lane. They've got Jackie. No, they don't. Jackie will barely survive. Cuckoo, he needed to throw the Splinter Blast out, but does not do so. So Jackie will barely make it out with his life intact. They do at least find Say, so that's something. Bit of a shame they miss out on the Jackie kill, though.
Yeah, it's a big one to miss out on. At the least, again, you're not in a position where you're going to be dropping your tower anytime soon. Palos gets to stay in lane and farm. Jackie is forced to go back top. Wastes a little bit of time getting his way out there. Uses the TP. And... you know, you're getting this scale up you want for your core timing. Echo Saber not too far off, just about 60 gold away. You've got some free room for Cox off the back for that rotation as well. Some important catch-up farm for the Slaughter to find. Working onto the Blink now. And again, all things considered, with these back and forth starting lanes, TNC are keeping it even. They've got the slight advantage on their end off the back of Palos and Yoa. The big difference maker really has been Zeal and Cox. Those offlanes have just not had the best of times, but again, Zeal's doing a little bit better in that regard. Did have some good stacks to clear out. He has managed to catch up quite nicely as well. I am wondering at what point, or how frequently Jackie will want to win these fights. He's going into the Yasha, into the Manta. Perhaps a Manta BKB timing, so all Jackie will need. Maybe the Mage Slayer as well. Very viable up against the Zeus to limit that output. I wouldn't mind either way if Jackie decides to go Mage Slayer over a straight BKB. It does feel like you kind of just want to stop the Zeus from hitting all of that damage spike. Still, smoke out from Bleed. They've got that Blink Up and Zeal here.
Oh, in mid lane, they are having a gander.
Bounty.
You're always going to be able to take the this room for himself. It's no problem. But Paulson's now on the chase. The pushback. Off the mark somehow, and they don't get the hook shot either.
Yes.
A little bit unfortunate. Yoa will be able to make it out just fine.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Happy days for TNC, not losing anything.
You know, I as long as they're playing against Bleed, eh? I wonder if any other teams did that up against Bleed. It didn't feel like we saw that much yesterday. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. You know, Cuckoo has ways, Mike.
Yeah, he certainly
His virtuosity and mind games and drafting and gameplay. Oh, like cheese on a pizza, Mike.
It really is incredible. It really is just incredible, isn't it?
You know what? If TNC and Blacklist lose, if only there was a lower bracket for them to play up against each other. Wouldn't that be a treat?
Yeah, there's always the SCA server, John. You know, just queue a pub afterwards. Basically the same
It's not
thing.
the same. It's not the same. To be in a lobby, to have casters watch you.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Privilege.
It's-
these pro players have, I tell you.
Casters that they instantly mute. Ah, the joys.
Oh, well, we have a 6-8 scenario here. Very slight net worth lead the way of TNC Predator. Win probability is actually sitting TNC's way at the moment as well, 63%. So it seems like everything kind of going according to plan here for TNC. Bleed Esports more than happy to sit back and relax for their own farm.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So one thing I feel like the patch
Radiant
didn't
are
change.
scanning.
Like, you hit this point of the game where for a solid 5 to 10 minutes, everyone's just going to hit creeps in the jungle.
Oh yeah.
You know? And it's just, nothing changes.
That's the one thing I was looking forward to in the patch as well. Like map and economy changes, because that affects gameplay. I mean, hero changes do as well, of course, but how the game, like the macro part, is definitely map and economy, which hasn't shifted. Smoke out from Zeal and Paulson on the hunt. Could get a good flank here in Cuckoo.
Oh, you'd love to find Yoe though, and they do. They found Yoe. Emo's going to jump into the Requiem, though the heavily jump is going to be there in time. They'll take down Cuckoo first, but they've got Yoe anyway. Well, very nice jump in from Zeal, finding both targets. Just understanding who to prioritize at that right moment. Ensuring that the curse never came out from
Radiant
Cuckoo.
structures are fortified.
That'll be a tier 1 mid tower to
Radiant's
drop. There's
middle
no
tower
defense.
is under attack.
Gonna have to just let it go. Respawns are fairly short, but power is slowly falling. Although Papas is coming in here.
House is showing up. A big avalanche, big toss.
Oh!
Got Emo locked down. Emo, he's down. Zeal, a 3-man stun at least will hold them back for the rest of it.
Radiant's middle tower has been
Not a
destroyed.
bad rotation all here from TNC, finding the mid SF. They still will lose the mid tier 1, so the defense doesn't really work out.
Soldier's fortune.
Not quite. They do get the deny at the very least, taking away some of that gold, and they can start to pressure onto the
Dire's top
enemy
tower
mid-tier
is
1
under
as well if
attack.
they wanted to. Not going to fully commit on that one, though. I do love how early Palace is willing to go into these fights, just with the Echo Saber plus the Blitz Knuckles.
Dire's
More than
middle
enough
tower
attack
is
speed,
under
still
attack.
has a good amount of burst with the Avalanche Toss. So he can still take care of some of these targets early on before the BKBs come in. And he has been scaling up quite fast. Palace, #1 in net worth, 202, doing a great job on that tiny so far. Same thing has been going for Jackie. He has been super active, 4-0 on the Razor. Still has a lot of room in the jungle. Mantisal flying out next into the BKB. And it's that time for the Razor where it gets a little bit scary, right? With a BKB, you're not concerned about the Zeus. It puts a lot more pressure on Cox to nail in this Bash of the Deep to hold him. And you're going to need the follow-through and physical output with
Dire's
Palace down the
middle
line.
tower
Still,
is under
TNC
attack.
smoking up off the back of that. do have good wards
Radiant's
watching
bottom
this Lotus
tower
area.
is under
So they
attack.
saw Zeal and Paulson.
Yeah, they'd love to find this Centaur another time, Zeal. Standing his ground for now, not realizing TNT are right around the corner. He'll still be within the fog of the tree line though, so he actually hasn't been caught out. And now they're going to know. Cuckoo with the Splinter Blast kind of giving it away, though Zeal does still stick around, but no, he gets the blink away! There's no way! Oh, they got the Thunder God's Wrath as well, but it means nothing. Oh, well there you go. Just nobody reacting fast enough apparently.
It's a shame. Overshot on the blink as well there from Cox. Couldn't quite get the instant Slitherine. And Zeal gets the bailout. We've seen that from Zeal so many times, so that guy is so damn slippery. We've seen him blink away from such scary circumstances before. Waste quite a fair bit of TNC's time. At the same time though, Palos and Yowie again have some room to play. They have been farming up. Palos, the full Shadow Blade not too far off. Can be a nice boon to his attack speed. Already has the shard up, so consistent DPS now up for the Tiny. With a tree grab.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
At the least, they do
Radiant's
stop the
top
pressure
tower
onto the
has
bot
fallen.
tier 1. They will lose their top tier 1 in exchange. So that does give a little bit more reach here for Bleed. Not a huge amount of reach. Still. Looking bot.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, Pollison's around, but he gets a bushwhack off. And say he's just fine to back off, and now it's Cox. He's going to find Pollison. The dead shot will miss again. Pollison will get bashed though. A very nice Cox from Say. And Cox is just... He's playing soccer this week, you know? He just can't miss with these damn Coxes.
Oh!
Mid lane in the meantime, they'll take down Cuckoo. Yowie is in danger. Yowie, he's going to try to run, but the slow is there with the plasma sword from Jackie, and Yowie is gone. A double kill for Emo. You can see they are still finding the shorter end of the stick of these engagements, just not able to get the big team fights you're really looking for. Oh, they might even lose another as now the Tiny's been caught out of Palos. He's the much bigger boy. Still a big shot.
Emo?
Out from Cox and Emo, he's gone
What?
too far.
Is under attack.
He has gone too far. Meanwhile, Jing, he looks to also drop, though he does pop. Here's the Veil. They are still going to lose Palos by the looks of it. Palos, he'll get a healing Lotus off. He's still running. Palos has made it. Wow. They actually just didn't have enough damage.
Yeah. Just on the edge. They managed to get that good initiation onto Palos with a hook shot. Avalanche toss out though into Cox's arms, and that's more than enough to cut off Palos. Such a tanky target. You have to remember, with a craggy exterior, you hit this Tiny. Yeah, you're not doing that much damage. It's a lot. Max stacks at 10. Damage reduction per stack right now is at 4. That's 40% damage reduction as you hit him. It's a huge loss in DPS. It's hard to actually burst down to Tiny.
It's actually a wild amount of damage reduction, that's for sure.
Can you imagine if you had Tiny plus Underlord?
Oh, yeah.
Is that just 0 damage? No, it's 50% of the 50% you lose from the reduction.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh god. Plus his armor on Grow. Oh, it's kind of nuts.
I mean, Palos is around that same area underneath Vision again. This time it seems as though Bleed do not want to borrow of it though. Bleed, they will just kind of leave the area. Palos with the Shadow Blade up. He's going to have a bit of a hunt around, and he does run right into Say, looking for an easy pick off of the clockwork. The V's probably not going to help Say too much, but the Cogs definitely will.
Palos!
Palos, sadly
Yeah,
not...
Echo Saber. He could break the cost. He's
He
just
could've.
trying to run in.
He could have, but he
I
couldn't.
appreciate the sin. I mean, it felt like after wasting time to hit the 2 cogs, you probably wouldn't reach a clock. So he decides to have fun, bounce around a little bit. Feel like a nice old pinball ball, I suppose. Very awkward sentence structure. 9 to 12, rather even game still. Palos?
Oh, Palos? No, he's sticking around. He's a very confident Tiny. Requiem's going to fly in from the side. Palos, he's a tanky boy. But once the break is there, it won't really matter. He is down. Palos, I mean, he is well and truly out of position, I dare say.
Just a little bit overconfident. Really wanted to find a pick off there and clear out the creep wave. Good punishment out from Bleed. That's going to give them a bit of a head start on gold, but not by a huge amount. Tormentor taken out by the side of TNC. Free shard out for Jing. So do have a little bit more coming out, but it appears the Veil. Not that it's the biggest deal, on the support Murta, but you get a couple of assists. You're going to feel good with some spell amp overall. So it's still nice to pick it up early on the Murta, of course. For the side of Bleed, you are reaching that critical point now for Jackie. BKB just a recipe away, 500 gold off. And once you do have that BKB Razor, again, it puts a lot of pressure onto Cox and onto Palos to actually focus in on that pause 1, while also worrying about Emo on the side. He's gone full magic. Yashakaya, faster cast point on the Requiem. It's going to be interesting to see that play out with his Blink Dagger.
I mean, it certainly could be a very painful experience for TNT to come, it feels like, as they have smoked up as 4. Find a haste rune by the river spot on the bottom side, as they do get scanned out. So smoke going to be pretty obvious now with the scan being committed. They could still find Polison. Stick around for a quick acorn shot. Will be able to get his way out of there. And a counter smoke to cup. Bleed Esports, they'll smoke up as 4. They do not have their Razor with them, but Jackie is going to TP by the tier 2 mid tower to try and rejoin his team. In fact, he'll just stick around and farm instead, as Bleed Esports, they are still trying to get to the bottom lane and find somebody around the area, but sadly for them, nobody's there. They will scout out the Roshan pit here on Bleed's end of things, but I don't really think they'll commit.
It's a hard one to take fully, right? Like, you worry about Thunder Gods coming back off cooldown and getting scouted out in Roche, and then TNC being in the area. There's some good wards here from TNC to watch that. Forward area of the bot jungle can be a little bit awkward to try to set up camp and also try to hunt down, unless you recommitted smoke. They do at least spot the water trail out from Cox. And they are setting up some control by the gate. TNC already getting the scan out. They know Roche might be a play, and they should have enough time. Yeah, they do pop it right on Roche. The question is, do they want to commit? Because they're so close to their own BKBs. Again, about the same distance for Palos, who can roll away from his. Cox is still further away, still lacking full recipe, but at least one BKB changes the game here. Looks like they will have to surrender. Thunder God's a scout. Way too far out.
Absolutely. Bleed Esports to be able to get away with a free Roshan themselves. Happy days here from Dire end of things. Get used to already for the lead as well. Prep to be able to defend that top tier 1 tower.
Dire's middle tower.
Still, he's going to jump in. The chase is on for Palos, but they will curse up the Centaur and just ensure he cannot close the gap for the time.
That was unfortunate for Zeal. Blinked right into the last tick of Avalanche. So he got stunned up as he blinked in. Enough time for Palos to use the Shadow Blade, bail out. Stampede wasted. Some time wasted here for the side of Bleed, but they have a nice advantage with the Aegis up on Jackie. It's going to be down to how he uses his static link, Eye of the Storm, and the BKB now. Whether or not he maximizes that in the first life or saves it for the secondary. We'll have to see how these fights break out. TNC, for their part, still maintaining a 2k lead despite losing Roshan. Still in a pretty good set of circumstances here for BKB for Palos. Again, Cox just lacking about 400 gold for his. That's when the game can open up. You've got the blink up on Bosku. Shout out to the one guy in chat who said this game is filled with, and I quote Mike, Cox and Bosku torture.
Cox and Bosku torture. And I guess so. There's some inappropriate joke there to be made, I'm sure, but it's not coming to me. But I don't think I want it to come to me anyway. Like, maybe I am the joke here, is Jing?
Yes! Bleed for me!
Jing's not going to get caught. He's alright. They've started with a stupid voice line ticket.
They're having fun. To be fair, coming into the series, right? TNC's been waiting for this matchup. Bleed is playing back-to-back. There's a lot of pressure, maybe more on Bleed and Fatigue here. Jing, nice breaking smoke.
Break indeed. They will move in with the static link. Jing can be just fine. Meanwhile, a curse being committed here by Cuckoo, but it won't really amount to too much. Cuckoo is down. So you find it with surviving for your trouble. Bleed, they could think about that bottom tier 2 tower now as well. They've got plenty of time for the Aegis on Jackie.
Radiant's bottom tower.
It's going to be up to TNC whether they want to try and defend, but I think you can well and truly walk it to the bottom tier 2 tower now. You do actually have Jing rotating by himself, so Jing's feeling charitable. Give his life away to Polison. And it's back to the tier 2 bottom tower.
We have no trouble clearing it out now on the side of Bleed. A little bit of missteps from the side of TNC.
Dire's middle
Nonetheless,
tower is
Age is still up for a decent amount of time here on Jackie. They were always going to try to force this one out down bot. We'll find it with a couple of freebies. Smoke bot out by Cuckoo. Could try to make a play. Winter's Curse is still a few seconds away up top. Yoe.
Emo just chasing down Yoe. He's a pretty big target to lose just like that, but it's TNC slowly starting to fall apart, it seems, here in this game one, as they are just getting picked off left, right, and center. And Bleed, I mean, they've been sticking mostly as a unit. They understand strength in numbers. 4 Ags now up on Emote and Boot, so you've got that really big Requiem to worry about. And the game continues to get more and more challenging if you're a TNC fan.
And it is. Again, some big tools coming out soon for TNC. You've already got the full BKB for Palos. He's going for the SNY. A lot more presence on the Tiny once that's done. Full Ags for Cox as well. And the Octarine for Yoe should allow constant scouting out. Would want the Ags on top. Just have Nimbus in response to any sort of split push or, again, opportunities with the scouting globally. Paloson's in a very awkward spot, but Jackie does show in the lane at the very least.
That's the right way to go for this. He thought about it. We'll try now. Jackie's got the Aegis up, so you do have a secondary life. And a nice bushwhack into the hook shot here from our Clockwork. Here comes Cuckoo with the curse available whenever he does require it. He does throw it out onto Jackie mid BKB, though Jackie's still going to be able to run for now. As Zil does jump in. Palos is low. Palos is in danger. He's still running those. Both carries will make it out. Zil the one to go down instead on the Centaur. So they do lose Zil. It's like Say is barely going to make it out with his life intact. The only real casualty was the Centaur, in fact. I mean, they got the Aegis of Jackie, but I wouldn't count that too much.
No, it still does take away a little bit of the bite of Bleed. They were setting up to pressure the tier 2 top, so that should remove some of that pressure in the lane. They can correct that top lane, maybe look to shove in mid as well if the opportunity presents itself here on TNC. And they can stall out for some of these later timings. Again, Ags for Cox is lined up. You've got the Octarine for Yoe, just about 600 gold away. And the SNY for Palos, not too far off now as well. Just about 700 gold away. So it does buy space and time for you to find these item pickups. And, you know, you've got more scaling as well in these supports. Like, Jing is going for the full Gleipnir. He's got a decent amount of damage that can come out and a good amount of control with calling. With that up, he can also scale into a secondary core as the game scales on. Something like a casual Moonshard as a support. Or even just a Shadow Blade to weave in and out is also going to be nice for Jing, if he can get the space to do so. And these idiots are still spamming voice line.
Sure
God damn.
Sure
It's Cuckoo, you know. This is his mental plan, Mike. This is it.
He's doing what he thinks is necessary. It's fine. He's just making me old tab every single time. I tell you, I just if that's maybe I'm the reason they're losing, John. You know, maybe get me out of the game, and that'll fix everything here for Cuckoo. I mean, I say that they're actually not losing. 55% win probability TNC's way, so I can say whatever I want. It doesn't really seem to matter, John, because TNC is still in the lead according to Gaben.
I think the one issue for Bleed, and that skews the statistic, is the fact that you did go Magic SF. There's a hard cap to the scaling of Emo. It is really impactful nonetheless, right? Like Blink plus Yashin Kaya, the spell amplification along with this cast speed bonus does allow you to blow up people quite fast. We haven't seen Emo jump right on top of people to try to get the max Requiem damage though. And it is a little bit risky for him to do that without BKB. Perhaps once this BKB is up for Emo, we can start to see them snowball off of that, try to get a big pick off into the high ground, or at least more tier 2s here for Bleed. But I think that's where the stat skews, right? Like, you went Ags, Yashin, Kaya, SF, you're not going right-click, the scaling does hard cap at some point. And again, with BKBs as a solution here from the side of TNC, there are already some early answers to that burst on hand here.
We do have the reconnection, thankfully, from Zil. I think the go-ahead is there from both sides. We'll get right back into it.
Used to be of sound constitution if you're aiming to murder folks.
Yeah, it feels like another close series here between these two teams. I mean, yesterday we had all 2-0s. Maybe today it's all going to be all 2-1s. And with the way the games have been going, it has felt very, very close every single series thus far.
Radiant are scanning.
It's like Bleed.
Dire's
Once
top
again, just going
tower
to
is
take the
under
back
attack.
seat. So much farm on Emo, but well, the scaling just isn't going to be there very, very soon. Jackie, even on the Razor, you start to wonder how much he's going to be able to do as the game does kind of go on. Very reliant on fighting the static links on Palos every single team fight to ensure the Tiny cannot just go out of control like he is right now at the Paulson. In the event that you don't catch Palos with the static link, it feels like a very free fight for TNC.
That it does. And that is the concern. I mean, again, Razor is not to be underestimated at, say, level 20, 25 with a refresh. Plus the Satanic, plus the AC. But I don't know, like the Tiny just feels like such a scary solution. Again, so much scaling error. Oh!
Jinx, so Emo going to be able to take that kill for himself. Not the biggest kill in the world, but you know, it's a nice little support trade to be made.
Palos.
And they go. Palos is going to find himself Zeal, so Zeal will try to go for a run with the Stampede, but the curse is going to hold him down long enough for Cox to get to work. Be a much better kill here for TNC now, finding the Centaur.
Yeah, they're going to be happy with that one. It does cost them some BKB usages here. Not the biggest deal for the side of TNC. You get to scale up on Palos, going into the full Daedalus now. Gonna have a lot of output there. At the least, you find yourself an amp damage rune for Emo. So he's got a lot of burst to play with if he tops that with the next Requiem. The issue is they're not finding big targets on these surprise smoke ganks. It has just been Cuckoo, it's been Jing. It's not really the heroes you want to instantly burst with this kind of build on your SF. You kind of want to target out. I think the easiest target's probably just going to be Yoe, if you can find him. And Palos just feels a little bit too tanky at 4k HP. As long as he has his BKB to fall through, might not be enough here onto that Tiny. Still, even game so far, 12-17, 1k lead for TNC stands. Full Satanic being picked up now by Jackie into the AC. So no refresh being lined up yet. Wants to fill up all the item slots first, which is fair. AC, really good counterpoint to Cox with a Corrosive Haze, considering how much minus armor that does provide. It just nullifies it to a certain extent. One issue is, as well, the information game for TNC is very strong with Thunder God's Wrath and the Octarine. Mind you, you do have a Clockwork with Flares, but Thunder God's Wrath is just such great pinpoint information that it does make it hard to try to get a position on the map to play in. Like, it's very clear down bot, they get the D wards. They could set up for next Roshan, which it does feel like Lead are setting up for. In a good spot to do so. Just need some forward observers now to just ensure they've got rush control, and you do have the wards ready on set. We'll try to swing around top, though.
They are going to give it a crack. Smoke is out as well. Head over to Emo and Jackie, who have already showed up to the top lane. Jackie is going to try and bait. TNC seeing the Razor, have smoked up, but they are going to the opposite side of the map. So not interested in the fight. TNC are just going to completely avoid them for now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But you can use the twin gates here as the side of Bleed, and they actually will go through the twin gates once again.
Dire are scanning.
Prep that bottom side of the map now for this fight that is incoming, as TNC still smoked up, still going towards the side of Bleed.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Cox has the Axe up as well, don't forget now. This is a big jump in, does find two at the start.
What?
Cox still being linked up here by Jackie, has the BKB going, will try to run. Jackie actually taking way too much damage, might be going down here on the Razor, and he's gone.
Oh!
It's kind of the issue, like you can't jump Cox because then you leave Palos. Now Zeal being caught out here on the Centaur, Zeal looking to go down. Emo, he will try to TP up mid BKB and he'll be fine. But they'll lose Zeal, they'll lose Paulison. It's 4 down for the price of nothing. And I really do think with the Razor, you can't start off with the Slaughter static. Like, it has to be Palos.
It has to. It doesn't matter if Cox does no damage. All they need of his right click for is to bash from deep, really. An amazing opening for Cox. They saw him. And that's the thing. His smoke broke. He ran right by the camp Zeal was on. They saw him at that point, and they were still clumped up in the ramp. They did not manage to disengage fast enough. And that's a huge crush from Cox to open up that fight. Such a constrained area that the calling's just so effective. We saw Seiya trying to bail out Jackie with a hook shot in. Didn't manage to hook onto an enemy. Hooked onto Jackie instead with no one around close enough to get stunned up. And just melt. Like, that was Palos before the Daedalus as well. He's got that fully up and running. This Tiny is a monster at this point.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Here we go. I mean, Roshan to start. The monster has made its appearance in the pit. And, you know, it's gotten to that stage now where the Tiny might be just too big of an issue for Bleed to try and work out. As
Jeez.
it's a big hit here for Palos, for sure. There's no two ways about it. I mean, Palos, once he gets the Lincoln Spear up on the Tiny, then you're not going to have the easiest time even getting the static link off. And again, once the static link has been used up, the Tiny is just having the freest time of his life. There's nobody to control him through his BKB, nor all the status resist he is getting through the craggy exterior. Or rather, the damage reduction, I should say. It's too much, this Tiny. Once it gets to this stage of the game, if you don't have the answers, you really just don't have the answers.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
He has 10% of his strength to status resist. He has 38.9% status resist.
Yeah.
That is an insane amount by default. We took away stat resist for a reason. Sad?
Not completely, sadly, as Say's been caught out. Holding him down with a Rod of Atos, there's no way out for Say. You know what, Palos found Jackie. Palos has found Jackie. Thankfully, the static link does make it so they can't quite finish the kill. 147 damage was taken by Jackie. That was more than enough to keep him alive. Chase is still ongoing though, Cox.
Oof.
Oh, he'll miss out.
I mean, it's 140 damage. It was still, you still had plus 140 in Palos anyway after losing that damage. Like, it doesn't feel like it matters for Palos. It feels like you will outright lose as Jackie in a straight 1v1. So it's a rough time for Bleed. He can only sustain true with a Satanic at the least, but you can't out-damage Palos. Even with the static link for a long time. Just too much base damage and too much add damage now with the itemization on Palos. 17 to 17, 13k lead for TNC early on. I say early, 36 minutes in. Bleed. This gambit onto the Magic SF hasn't felt like the most amazing time here for Emo. It was a great start, but now, maybe with a refresh, a double Requiem can change a name. Can change a game along with a double BKB. Still, they've got the Roche banner up. Fortify is doing nothing to these creeps. The push will continue.
Make it very, very hard to actually contest this push that is incoming from TNC. Raindrax going down so quickly here to Palos. They're going to try and jump in now with the link out onto Palos. Locking him down with the bushwhack to give themselves a better chance now into the break as well. But the Tiny's just not taking any damage. Now with the Requiem, maybe they can kill him off. They finally will the first time. But there's your curse to lock both of them down. Jackie and Emo, they're the big targets. They've lost Emo already. No buyback available for the SF as now Zill's in trouble. Zill is gone. And this game is looking extremely over at this stage. There's no T2 towers to hold them off for taking just the Megas and Palos. He's going to have a quick disconnection to let them think about it, as Cuckoo's saying there's a bit of a bug here. I don't think there's a bug, Jonathan. I think it is. They just wanted to spam these voice lines again.
Perhaps. Could be all part of Godfather Cuckoo's plan, mentally. I will have to say, this Roche banner, as it is now, is so insane. They cleared out all the creeps. There were 2 range creeps that were hitting the racks at just the edge of the Roche banner's effect. And they couldn't kill off the Roche banner.
Nope.
So they couldn't stop the push regardless. As long as you get a good spot and protect this Roche banner, it should lead to faster high grounds. I love seeing this from TNC. Finally, Valve has given us the tools to get the early advantage by keeping the creep waves alive, and they capitalize in a big way.
Thank God for that.
I mean, we haven't seen that impact that much either, right? This is the first time, and it's doing so much work. It did so much work.
Midrax going to go down, and again, I think they just go straight for the Megas. There's just no need not to. No T2 towers left standing here inside of Bleed Esports. They've got to try to defend while they are lacking Emo and Zeal. It's not looking too easy for them. And Say is absolutely trying with the Rocket Flare spam here with the Axe upgrade. Because you have the constant resets here from Cuckoo. T3 tower is gone. Still very hesitant is Palos. You know, doesn't want to throw the game away. Zeal is going to respawn now. They've already got the Mega Creeps. They can retreat.
No need to risk it here on the side of TNC. Huge advantage coming out for them off the back of some really good fights. 19-17, 27k lead coming out their way. A 99% chance to win. And again, it looks like TNC's rallied after a very slow start yesterday. Their first series looked pretty rough. Their second series, TNC was better, but it just looked like Execration was a far worse team, to be fair. And this time, this is TNC looking actually strong. Right, their coordination's on point. Their drafting is so clean. Going for the tiny core, going for that Zeus early pick because it was left in the pool by Bleed. And that's really going to be the gameplay now in the drafting phase, right? Like, you have to take care of TA, you have to take care of Zeus, you have to take care of the Phoenix. There's so many busted first pick heroes that one of them slides through, it just changes the game.
It's a bit too much right now for the side of Blink to deal with, I think. With the Mega Creeps, TNC, they are going to group up and start to move on to the high ground. T4 Tower's completely exposed. Nice sort of bushwhack here from Paulus, not really making too much of a difference though. Yeah, the T4 Towers really don't last very long when Palos gets started. It's like 5 hits for the tower to go down. Pop the Stampede, they'll try to move in. Yoan was the big target, but he's going to be just fine as now Jack has been caught by Palos. And just look at the damage output. Palos just doing too much.
Matter.
It's just doing too much. Oh, Jackie's gone without buyback. It's like Zeal is about to drop Taboo. They do at least find Jig. There goes Zeal. No GG call as of yet. Emo is still trying, but it's over. He'll call GG himself.
It's a valiant effort from Bleed, but TNC, once they get the start they want, once they get the items they needed, can just turn around, right? Like early on, it looked so good for Bleed. They were playing off of Emo, having this fantastic start very well. They played off the match.